Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in our community who are involved in activities designed to promote good human relations. I am Michael Keller, the chair of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission and your host. The commission is a city board that seeks to promote equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. My guests today are Jamie Pappas, who is the Executive Director of Arts on Stage, and Debbie Best, who is the Administrative Coordinator of this organization. Debbie and Jamie, welcome to Annapolis Mosaics.
Thanks for having us.
Well, could you start by telling our viewers what the mission of Arts on Stage is? What's it about?
It's to have every child, every adult, every human being to be able to experience the arts. It's not every day everybody gets to go to a professional theater and experience the arts, but we also incorporate education. Okay. So you're learning outside the classroom, but it's enabled to have everyone an opportunity to learn through live theater. Okay.
Tell our viewers a little about your history. When did you get started and how have things changed, if at all, over the time period in which you've existed?
Yeah, well, I can speak on that. 25 years ago we started, 25 seasons ago I should say we started.
So this is your 25th anniversary?
This is our 25th anniversary.
Well, that's exciting.
Yes, and we had our 500th show last year, so that was awesome as well. But we started out of necessity to help other children that had learned visually. I myself learned visually as a child, and so I saw that this would be a great starting place. But it started 25 years ago with our founder, Leslie Fowler, who is still on our board. She's our board president, so she's still around. And we were actually a sister company of a New York company that did the same kind of thing. Okay. Then about 11 years ago, she started out with one show as well. So that was kind of interesting. One show at one theater that we're still at, which is Goucher College in Towson. And then from there, 11 years ago, I joined her. And we started to expand, and that's when we came down to the Annapolis area and Anne Arundel County area to reach more people than just in Baltimore County and the surrounding counties. And so now we're here with over 50 plus shows a year happening at both Maryland Hall in Annapolis and Goucher College in Towson. And our shows change drastically from year to year depending upon what's going on within the school system, but also it's happening socially. And Debbie joined us about a year.
Yeah, I'm a little newer, coming alongside Jamie and Leslie. It'll be 2 years in the fall, and I have a nonprofit and theater background, so it's a perfect fit. But it's something new that came to my awareness that there was this facilitator in Arts on Stage in bringing theater and school children together outside of the classroom environment. Okay. So,
yeah, we're happy to have her on because it fits so well. Okay. And so we continue on.
Well, you know, you make use of a variety of media, and what I like to do is to talk about each one in turn so that you can give our viewers a description of the kinds of things you put on, what you've done with it. And we'll start with, I think, the one I think you make greatest use of, and that's the theatrical performances and theatrical plays. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about exactly how this all works in that area, and then we're going to go on to some other areas as well.
Well, basically we hire professionals. So we hire the professionals that are touring. So they're not community theater, not that we're downplaying that, but they're not the community players or they're from outside, sometimes even outside the U.S. We have some that travel. And so we say to them, can you come in? They have an educational show that they do, and we then book a date and then have it happen. Now some, like you said, are theatrical, so they deal with drama. One that we have almost every year is Harriet Tubman. So there's some in the way of drama that we do. Some other theatrical shows, but the kids are able to see something they maybe have read in a book, or they read in a history book, and they then see it live on stage. So it kind of gives them a different way of thinking about the show, because sometimes too the shows have to change a little bit due to copyright laws, and that makes it interesting for the kids to compare and contrast. We also have, like, coming up, we typically have it as well as Christmas Carol. So it's one that they can read, and then also then come and see it presented live on stage.
Okay, so the children really don't perform.
The children don't perform.
The children don't perform. I think it's important for people to understand that.
No.
What this is strictly an educational program.
It's an educational program. So we have study guides as well online. So teachers are able to, or parents, we have a huge homeschooling following, so they're able to pick what show they want to see, and that study guide lets them know what they're going to see. And then they come to the show.
And we strive to select titles and companies that tie in with the existing curriculum. You know, hopefully everyone's still learning about Dickens. Hopefully when you're in kindergarten, everyone's still reading Dr. Seuss. So we're very careful to curate those classic titles in the form of plays, while still exposing kids to cultural arts that are changing and evolving, such as acrobatics and cirque and things of that nature.
But we're also dealing with the social issues as well. So we do use the theater for that, such as the anti-bullying movement that has been going on in the state. And so we actually have shows that touch upon that in different age levels. For that purpose. So that's one of the ones that we do have for a social issue. And then also health and nutrition. So we have some shows that delve into teaching children about health and nutrition, ecology, and bullying awareness as well.
Okay. And so basically what you do is you pick the professionals, you bring them in, they do the performance, and then the children actually...
Well, we invite the schools, or we invite, we tell them, what's happening. And then they come and they enjoy. It's typically a 1-hour production.
I like to see us as this local facilitator of things that teachers don't always have direct access to. So we're hiring the performer, we're marketing it to the teacher, we're doing all of the work of booking the seats and holding the seats and ensuring that they have the elements of what they need, and then bringing this giant puzzle together. You can't always have acrobats from China come to your gym, but we can facilitate, we can help you bring your students out to this live professional experience to see something that might not otherwise fit in your school, but ties in with your curriculum.
And affordable. Because if you go to some of the larger theaters and you see some of the shows that we present at nighttime, you're spending $50, $60, $70 a ticket. You're spending $8 or $9 with ours, sometimes 10. So it's just amazing. We're able to keep that affordable for all the teachers and homeschools and individuals that come and want to enjoy theater, and then cultivate too a love of theater with those kids that then will go out and go to the theater and see, go to Broadway, go to the Lyric, go to other venues that have these professional as adults and enjoy theater as well.
So your objective is to instill in children at an early age an appreciation for the arts.
Appreciation for the arts and how they can learn through the arts. That it's not just all about in the classroom. You have to go out and experience it as well.
Our mission verbatim is enrich and educate through live professional theater. And those two words, enrich and educate, encapsulate so much, both enjoyment, the cerebral side, the emotional side of what watching the performing arts can do for a child.
Okay. All right. And so what you have really here are field trips. And that's how it's organized.
They are, we do all field trips. So, field trips sometimes have a connotation that you have to be a school. But it's just the timing is that you need to be a school. Sometimes camps come too. We have summer shows as well. So camps will come. And then, like I said, individuals, we have a huge homeschool following. So.
All right. Let's look about some of the other areas you work in. You also have music too.
Yes.
And what do you do with that? What kind of
Sometimes the music is entrenched in the drama that is done, and so in that. But then we also have things like we've had Mexican dancers come and share their culture. So it's like an insight into the culture. We've had other. There's some like I can think of like we've had in the past is like Peter and the Wolf that really plays on music. So it's a musical education. So everybody is pretty much encompassed into the theater itself, and can get something out of it in each, you know, STEAM or STEM or however you want to call it, but they're all encompassed in our shows, and that's why we pick and choose so carefully on what shows that we have.
Yeah, and we strive to have each season be curated for the variety of topics that teachers are required to relay. So while we want kids to take in the performing arts, you can also teach STEM through the performing arts. Right. So we always make sure there's literature, there's science, there's math, there's dance, so that they have music, so that they have a variety of things to expose their students to through our field trips all throughout the year.
Right. And you also do storytelling too, right?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, a kindergarten teacher that came specifically recently said, oh, this play was perfect because I'm introducing my kindergartners to folk tales, and now they saw this fairy tale come to life on stage. And so that was an important objective for her students.
Okay, we're going to take a break now, but when we return, I will be speaking with Jamie and Debbie in greater detail about some of the programs they have at Arts on Stage. I'm talking today with Jamie Pappas, who's the Executive Director of Arts on Stage, and Debbie Best, who's the Administrative Coordinator with this organization. Arts on Stage also offers in-school programs, does it not?
We do offer in-school programs in some degree.
Okay.
We've partnered with a company that does a lot of different genres for in-school, and that is for the schools that cannot make the trip out to our theaters. Okay. Our main goal is to get the kids out to the professional theater, but for those that we're unable to reach, because we like to be there the day of the shows, so we can only get so many places in a certain day in the state of Maryland. So we have some opportunities for those schools that are maybe an hour over in distance from our theaters that we offer for them, and they encompass all the different genres as well. So, but it's on a more lower scale, and you're normally seeing it in a library or in a gymnasium, things of that nature. But there are some things that you can't see in school. Right. So, but you know, for those, sometimes they'll make the effort to even drive even further to come and see. Right.
And you mentioned that you also prepare educational guides. Do you do this for all of the different shows?
We require them to have one. So they already have it done, and then we look over them and make suggestions if we need to. But they're already supplied to us from the theater companies, from the touring artists.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then we offer them, and we actually offer them free of charge on our website even now, so that people can make the decision of, is this, I mean, we give guidelines about what grade levels, because we go pre-K all the way up to 12th grade and sometimes adult. But we want to make sure that they're making the educational decision about, yes, this is what we want our children to be exposed to. So we do make those available without even reserving.
And then they can download it, utilize it in the classroom, or even share it with the parents. We received an email one evening recently, I'm helping my kid with their homework and I need a copy of your study guide, and we got it right out to them free of charge, you know, continue the learning at home.
And we have a letter to families that's on that I add on the end of the study guide, because a lot of times your kid will go to a field trip and you don't know quite what it was about. Right. You know, you just heard maybe a headline, and a lot of times it's not written as Arts on Stage that they're coming to. So we like to give a little synopsis about what the kid saw, and then they can write a little bit something to their parents about what they saw, or they can draw something if they're a little bit younger.
Yeah. What age groups do you focus on in the schools? Are there specific age groups?
It's pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. It depends
Okay.
on the show.
All right.
So there's certain shows that fit the whole genre. And then there's shows that are only based, we just had one recently for pre-K to 2nd grade. Okay. So we get the recommendations from the theater companies, and then we also pride ourselves in seeing the shows firsthand, and then we then adjust those if we feel it's necessary to adjust. Okay. But they're just recommendations. It's up to the teacher and the parent to decide, yes, this is what is we want our kids to learn about on stage.
Yeah. Well, you'd mentioned that you perform at Maryland Hall. That's one of the two areas. That's right. And that will be most meaningful to our viewers, because most of the people who will be watching the show today are within easy driving distance of Maryland Hall. So that raises the question: is obviously your main focus is on the children. But can individuals attend these shows?
Yes. Even though they take place during the day, because our audience is school children and teachers, it's open to the public. And I have all the time grandparents or moms or dads call me and say, oh, it's a half day. I want to bring my child to see a production, and everyone is welcome.
Or even preschools that they get out a half a day. Yeah. They decide to come. We pay attention to the calendars of all the different counties, which is pretty intense and challenging. So we try not to have a show where a county is closed. But a lot of times for your private schools, things of that nature, they go off their own calendar. So they might be, off that day, and they want to take, the child to see a show. So we do have that opportunity. Anybody can come.
Yeah, another word that we tie into our mission a lot is accessibility. So no matter what age, what type of school you go to, personal requirements you might have, and access to the theater space, we want it to be enriching and accessible, easy to come visit us.
Okay, do you sell like subscriptions? Do you have?
We started this year on helping more to give a little discount for those that are coming to multiple shows, especially for our homeschools. We're offering that as well. So that can be found on our website, which is artsonstage.org. And so they can find out about that. But a lot of times they just make a reservation. Their money typically isn't due until 3 weeks before the show. So if they see something now they want to do in May, they don't have to pay for it until 3 weeks before the show.
We're one of the few learning experiences of this kind that don't require hard numbers, don't require money up front. Another way of kind of lowering the boundaries for the teacher to bring their students is saying, we'll hold these seats for you, and then we'll see you in a couple months, and we see great success with that usually.
Okay. If people are interested in individual tickets, they can buy individual tickets?
They buy individual tickets, and they're paying the same amount as the schools are. So we don't up-hike our tickets for those that are just bringing a minimum amount. Right. So it's very accessible.
Okay. If people are interested in learning more about you, how can they get in contact with you? For example, if someone wants to purchase a ticket, or if someone wants to just learn more about you, and you have a parent who's watching, say, gee, we ought to get this in our schools, or you have a teacher who may be watching and say, gee, I'd like to do this. How do folks reach you, either in terms of attending the shows or just getting information about Arts on Stage?
Well, we personally answer the phone, Jamie and I. We're a small organization, so you can call us at 410-252-8717, and you'll probably be talking to me most days. And artsonstage.org, as Jamie mentioned, is the easiest way to see the study guides, purchase the tickets, read about our mission.
Okay, could you repeat the email, or not the email, but the website and the phone number again?
And the telephone number, sure. You can call us at 410-252-8717, and you can check out our programs online or reserve your tickets at artsonstage.org.
And we always say, don't forget the S.
Don't forget the S in arts.
Yes, on stage. And we also have a social media presence as well, so they can find us on Facebook as well. And there's sometimes some deals on there.
Well, what aspect of your program looking back over the years, and this is your silver anniversary, what aspects of the program, and each of you can answer this, has given you the greatest amount of pride, the greatest sense of accomplishment?
I remember one in particular. We presented Helen Keller, and unfortunately, in this day and age, in the school system, Helen Keller is not talked about anymore. But back then, when we presented Helen Keller, we had
This is the miracle worker, right?
Yes. So we had a school that came with a lot of children that were disabled, a lot of children that were in wheelchairs. And so this teacher brought them to the show. And the teacher told me that afterwards, one of the girls that saw the show that says, now that I've seen Helen Keller and what she can do, I think I can do anything. And that to me was just like, all right, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, because just for that one girl to feel the difference with a live show and have that impact on her life, that was meaningful for me.
Right, Debbie?
I had two that came to mind, and the one it was most recent was actually when we were not in the theater. I was meeting a teacher at a conference, and she said, oh, well, I work with children who are bedridden or wheelchair ridden. I don't know if this is for us. And I said, ma'am, theater is for everyone. Call me and we'll make it happen. And her face just lit up, and she was like, thank you. And I think I'll remember that conversation forever. It's so rewarding knowing that we're making this enriching and accessible.
Well, it's a very exciting program. From what sources do you derive your funding? This is obviously costs money to do
Well,
this.
and I'm glad you mentioned that.
money for this?
We actually thrive just in ticket sales for the most part, is primarily the focus. This past year, and I'll have Debbie talk about the grant that we received, and then I'll have her talk about that. But then we also sell these at the shows, and it says, I support arts and education. And it's a little car, it's a car magnet. And I mean, you can put it on your file cabinet, things like that. We were really excited though when we are coming down here and we see these cars. But just a minimum of $1 donation, and they get this car magnet that they can feel like they've supported not only with their ticket sale, but then also supporting to help other children come to the shows. So we do sell these at the shows. And then I'll have Debbie talk about
Yeah, and we had two very important partners this year. The first one being Best Western Plus of Towson has partnered with us and supported us. And then one of the most exciting things of the season was our grant from the Baltimore County Commission of Arts and Sciences, and that supplemented our season this year. And we are very grateful to the commission for that.
Yes, and so even though it's Baltimore County, even though we're talking about Anne Arundel County, it helps with the shows down here as well.
Thank you for viewing our program today, and please join us again on Annapolis Mosaics. If you would like more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, jot down the information on your screen. You can reach us at 410-263-7998 or by email at hrcommission@annapolis.gov. Or check out our page at the City of Annapolis website. Go to www.annapolis.gov, click on the city government icon, then boards and commissions, and you can scroll down to the Human Relations Commission's page. And always remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We have flown the air like birds and swum the seas like fishes, but have yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth as brothers and sisters."